Emily Parker had always found peace in the familiar quiet of her neighborhood in Oak Park, a leafy suburb just west of Chicago. The streets were lined with old oaks and maples whose branches stretched protectively over sidewalks worn smooth by generations of footsteps. She grew up believing firmly in the simple virtues instilled by her parents: compassion, integrity, and humility. Mike Parker, her father, a steadfast firefighter turned retiree, had always taught her about bravery in the face of adversity, while her mother, Anna, a dedicated nurse at Mercy Hospital, embodied quiet resilience through her tireless care for others. Emily's childhood home was modest yet warm, filled with family photos, mismatched furniture, and the comforting scent of freshly baked bread. Though money was sometimes tight, laughter and love were abundant. Her parents, despite working long hours, had never missed a school play or soccer game, instilling in Emily a deep sense of gratitude and empathy. It was from them she learned the value of finding joy in life's simplest moments. Following her passion for art and creativity, Emily earned a degree in interior design from Northwestern University. She landed a promising position at Urban Grace Designs, a boutique firm nestled in the vibrant heart of downtown Chicago. Every morning, she boarded the Green Line from Oak Park Station, her journey into the city a peaceful transition from the comfort of home into the lively pace of urban life. Her days were filled with client consultations, site visits, and the quiet satisfaction of turning empty spaces into homes where new memories could flourish. Life, as Emily often reflected, was beautiful precisely because it was so comfortably predictable. But it's funny how the universe tends to rewrite our stories in moments we least expect. It was a gray Monday morning in late October, the sky overcast, drizzling gently as Emily hurried from the station, pulling her coat tighter around herself. She ducked into the Starbucks on North Michigan Avenue, its windows steamed up from the warmth inside, and the aroma of roasted coffee beans instantly calmed her rushed nerves. The line was long, crowded with city dwellers trying to escape the chill. Emily checked her watch anxiously. Late meetings were her personal nightmare. Finally, with coffee in hand, she turned quickly toward the door, oblivious to the man rushing in from outside. They collided abruptly, her latte splattering spectacularly across his pristine navy suit jacket, white shirt, and polished black shoes. Emily froze, mortified as the bustling cafe seemed to pause collectively, eyes turning toward the scene. "Oh my gosh, I am so sorry," she stammered, panic rising as she desperately reached for the stack of paper napkins nearby. "I wasn't paying attention. Please let me help clean that." As she awkwardly dabbed at his sleeve, Emily finally glanced up, meeting his gaze directly for the first time. The man standing before her was striking, not just because of his well-tailored suit or impeccable grooming, but because of the kindness reflected in his eyes. Despite her clumsiness and the obvious inconvenience, he wore a gentle, disarming smile that held neither irritation nor judgment. "It's all right, really," he reassured her softly, taking a napkin from her trembling hands. "Accidents happen, especially on mornings like these." Emily stepped back, feeling her cheeks grow warmer. "I insist. At least let me cover the dry cleaning. I feel terrible about this." The man laughed lightly, the genuine warmth in his voice breaking the tension instantly. "Honestly, don't worry about it. But if it would ease your guilt," he added playfully, "perhaps you'd join me for dinner tonight instead?" Emily blinked in surprise. The spontaneity of his invitation, the easy confidence mixed with warmth, disarmed her. Before hesitation or self-consciousness could overrule instinct, she found herself smiling back and nodding. "All right, dinner it is." That evening, they met at a cozy Italian restaurant just off Michigan Avenue. The ambiance was inviting, with soft music and candle-lit tables creating an atmosphere of intimacy and comfort. As they talked over homemade pasta and robust red wine, Emily learned more about the intriguing stranger. His name was Andrew Hayes, heir to the prestigious Hayes Hospitality Group, whose hotels and resorts were known for luxury across the Midwest. Emily listened attentively, surprised to find herself so at ease despite their seemingly different worlds. Andrew spoke candidly, not about wealth or success, but about his passions and dreams. He described his love for architecture and art, a shared interest that sparked a connection Emily hadn't anticipated. Despite his privileged upbringing, he spoke with a humility that mirrored the values her own family held dear. You know, Andrew confessed quietly, swirling his wine gently, people often assume life has been easy for me because of my family's money. But honestly, sometimes it feels isolating. Everyone thinks they know me, yet no one really sees beyond the last name. Emily understood. She too had known loneliness, though her life was vastly different. Sometimes, she replied thoughtfully, the simplest things, like dinner with a stranger after spilling coffee, can become the most genuine moments we experience. Andrew smiled, his gaze intent. Perhaps accidents aren't really accidents at all. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, touching on everything from family values to favorite books and hidden city spots they both adored. Emily was struck by Andrew's depth, vulnerability, and insight, qualities she'd never expected to find in someone from his world. By the time the restaurant was nearly empty, Emily realized they had spent nearly 3 hours lost in conversation. Walking outside into the crisp autumn evening, Emily shivered slightly from the chill. Andrew gently draped his jacket around her shoulders without a word. In that small gesture, Emily felt her heart quietly shift. He escorted her back to the train station, their footsteps echoing softly on the wet pavement. Under the amber glow of streetlights, Andrew turned toward her, sincerity evident in his eyes. I'm grateful for spilled coffee, he admitted warmly, because it led me here. Emily laughed softly, her eyes sparkling. And I'm grateful you weren't terribly upset about your suit. They parted ways at the platform with a simple promise to see each other again. Emily boarded the train, her heart lighter than it had been in years. The ride back to Oak Park was filled with thoughts of Andrew, of his kindness, his humility, and the rare connection that had ignited between them. She knew instinctively that this unexpected encounter was the beginning of something meaningful. Late that night, curled beneath her favorite blanket, Emily replayed the day's events, marveling at how quickly life could change. A simple accident, a casual apology, and an impulsive acceptance had opened a door she never expected. For the first time in a long while, Emily felt excitement about the uncertainty ahead. Life had always been predictable, reassuringly comfortable. But perhaps, she thought, it was finally time to embrace uncertainty, to welcome the unpredictability of love and the joy that comes from stepping bravely into the unknown. As sleep claimed her, Emily drifted off with a hopeful heart, fully unaware of the trials and triumphs ahead, only certain that whatever came next, she would face it with the courage and grace instilled by the parents she adored, the quiet strength of her upbringing, and the gentle power of believing in life's unexpected magic. After their unexpected yet beautifully fated meeting, Emily Parker found herself swept up in a whirlwind romance unlike anything she had ever known. Andrew Hayes, with his quiet charm and genuine warmth, quickly became an irreplaceable part of her life. And soon enough, he had woven himself deeply into her heart. Their love was effortless in private, filled with quiet dinners, long walks along Lake Michigan, and nights spent dreaming together beneath Chicago's sparkling skyline. But as their relationship grew serious, Emily knew a different chapter was inevitably approaching. The moment Andrew would introduce her to his family. Though she had tried to quiet her nerves, Emily couldn't help but feel a small pit of anxiety growing in her stomach as they drove up the long, tree-lined driveway toward the Hayes family estate in Lake Forest. The grandeur was breathtaking. Stately mansions stood proudly behind iron gates, and manicured gardens spread elegantly beneath a sky that seemed somehow wider here, brighter and yet more distant. It was beautiful, undoubtedly, yet intimidating in its perfection. Andrew gently squeezed her hand, sensing her quiet tension. They'll love you, he reassured her softly. Emily nodded, grateful for his encouragement, but silently wondering how two worlds so vastly different could ever truly merge into one. Meeting Eleanor and William Hayes was exactly as Emily had expected. Elegant, refined, and initially polite. Eleanor was poised impeccably, every strand of her silver hair artfully arranged, her pearls subtly accentuating her graceful composure. William was imposing, with a quiet strength that commanded immediate respect, his presence filling every room effortlessly. Eleanor offered a reserved smile as Andrew introduced Emily, her eyes taking careful measure of the young woman standing nervously before her. Interior design, Eleanor echoed thoughtfully, though Emily sensed a gentle skepticism beneath her carefully controlled tone. That sounds like a charming pursuit. Emily smiled politely, but inwardly she cringed. She knew charming was Eleanor's polite way of dismissing something as trivial, a pastime rather than a respectable profession. William merely nodded, offering little more than a courteous greeting before retreating into conversation with Andrew about the business matters at Hayes Hospitality Group. Dinner was served promptly at 7, laid out meticulously upon a grand mahogany dining table, glittering silverware and crystal goblets catching the soft glow of ornate chandeliers above. The conversation flowed smoothly around topics Emily knew little of: investments, mergers, influential social events, and she found herself a quiet observer, feeling subtly out of place. Each moment that passed deepened the quiet sense of inadequacy gnawing at her confidence. Despite the warmth Andrew radiated from his seat beside her, Emily could feel the invisible walls rising around her, barriers of privilege and status that she had never truly understood until now. She wondered quietly if love alone would be enough to bridge these divides. Still, Andrew believed it would, and his confidence reassured her through days and months of careful negotiations between their two worlds. Before long, a glittering ring adorned Emily's finger, and wedding plans began in earnest. Their wedding was nothing short of stunning, a beautiful ceremony at an elegant venue overlooking the Chicago skyline. Yet Emily couldn't shake the subtle shadow of Eleanor's polite skepticism, the small sighs of resignation when she politely refused extravagant suggestions, opting instead for touches that felt true to her simpler, quieter taste. Life after their wedding began with a breathtaking view from Andrew's penthouse in downtown Chicago. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Lake Michigan, capturing sunrises Emily had only dreamt of witnessing daily. The apartment was lavish, an opulence she appreciated, but that also seemed a constant reminder of the gap between her humble upbringing and the world she now inhabited. Soon after their marriage, Lucas arrived, a beautiful, healthy son who instantly became Emily's universe. With Lucas's birth, Emily felt a newfound hope, believing firmly that her child could bridge the quiet tension still lingering between her and the Hayes family. Eleanor, at first distant, softened subtly in the presence of her grandson, her guarded eyes filling briefly with tenderness. Even William seemed genuinely pleased, though still reserved, holding Lucas with cautious pride. But beneath these subtle changes, Emily could still feel Eleanor's quiet disapproval simmering gently beneath every polite smile. It was evident in Eleanor's suggestions about parenting, in the carefully veiled comments about Emily's decision to return to work part-time, and the subtle insistence on frequent visits to their estate. Despite Eleanor's polished exterior, Emily knew she remained an outsider, a simple girl who had somehow wandered unintentionally into their lavish world. Andrew, meanwhile, thrived in his growing responsibilities at Hayes Group. Emily watched proudly as he navigated challenges with grace, yet found herself quietly longing for the man she'd first met. The one who laughed freely, who found joy in the simplest pleasures, untouched by the pressures and expectations of his powerful family name. She felt increasingly isolated, finding solace only in the time spent quietly with Lucas, or during weekly visits with her parents back in Oak Park. Moments when she could breathe freely, grounded again in familiar simplicity and unconditional acceptance. Emily did her best to remain hopeful, determined to blend her humble roots with the elegant life she'd chosen. She found small joys in decorating their penthouse with subtle touches that reminded her of home, adding warmth and comfort to the sleek modernity surrounding her. Lucas's laughter, the most beautiful sound she'd ever known, filled the silence that grew each night as Andrew returned home later and later, exhausted from meetings and obligations that seemed never-ending. Emily often wondered if Andrew felt the widening gap too, yet she never brought it up, fearful of adding more pressure to his already heavy shoulders. Instead, she focused on quietly supporting him, hoping that, in time, their worlds might naturally align, bridging differences not with confrontation, but through patience, understanding, and quiet strength. Yet the harder Emily tried, the more distant Andrew seemed to become. Nights once filled with whispered dreams and quiet affection grew cold, replaced by awkward silences or brief conversations focused solely on practicalities. Appointments, dinners with his parents, events she was expected to attend despite feeling utterly disconnected from the sophisticated conversations happening around her. Through it all, Emily clung fiercely to hope, believing firmly that love, patience, and understanding could overcome any distance. But late at night, as she stood alone by the window, gazing silently at the glittering city below, she couldn't help but wonder if her simple dreams of love had been naive. The gentle whisper of doubt grew louder in the darkness, asking silently if love alone could truly bridge the gap between two worlds so fundamentally different. In those quiet, introspective moments, Emily often thought back to her parents, to the simple love that had sustained them through struggles and triumphs alike. She remembered the quiet lessons learned around the worn dinner table, their voices filled with kindness, wisdom, and unwavering belief in the strength of family. And she wondered silently, with a growing ache in her heart, if she'd somehow lost sight of the very values she once held dear, drawn instead into a world where she was slowly losing herself. But despite the doubts, despite the quiet tension and subtle isolation, Emily continued to believe, with quiet strength and unyielding hope, that someday Andrew would again be the man she'd first fallen in love with, that they could rebuild their connection, finding once more the beautiful simplicity they'd briefly known in those early days. Until then, Emily resolved quietly to remain true to herself, nurturing Lucas with the warmth and compassion she'd learned in the modest home she grew up in, believing firmly that her own values, deeply rooted in family, love, and integrity, would eventually illuminate the path ahead, guiding them all toward a deeper understanding of what truly matters. In her heart, she knew love was real, even if reality itself was complicated. She simply hoped that in time, love would prove strong enough to bridge the quiet gap she now felt every day, helping them find once again the beauty hidden quietly beneath life's challenging realities. Emily Parker had always trusted Andrew Hayes implicitly. Trust had been the quiet foundation upon which their relationship was built, the cornerstone that she believed would withstand any storm. It was trust that allowed her to bridge the daunting gap between her humble past and his world of privilege. But trust, Emily soon learned, was also tragically fragile. It happened gradually at first, so gently that Emily could easily convince herself nothing was wrong. Andrew's increasing hours at the office seemed perfectly reasonable given his rising responsibilities. His distracted glances at dinner, the way his phone lit up quietly beside his plate. These were merely symptoms of stress and workload, nothing sinister. Emily reassured herself quietly, choosing optimism over suspicion, burying her growing unease beneath layers of hopeful denial. Yet as the days stretched into weeks, the subtle distance between them became painfully undeniable. Emily found herself awake late into the night, unable to sleep as doubts whispered relentlessly through the silence of their bedroom. She noticed small changes. Andrew's expressions grew distant, his laughter became hollow, and his words, once filled with warmth, turned mechanical and cold. One quiet Tuesday evening, as she prepared Lucas for bedtime, Andrew texted that he'd be working late again. Emily held Lucas close, drawing comfort from his innocence, his soft laughter a soothing balm against her troubled thoughts. Once he drifted into peaceful sleep, she wandered through the penthouse, aimlessly tidying up, hoping physical distraction would quiet her restless mind. She moved into Andrew's office, neatly stacking scattered papers. It was then she noticed his laptop, open and blinking quietly, a forgotten glow illuminating the otherwise dim room. Emily paused, an invisible weight settling in her chest. She was never one to invade Andrew's privacy, yet tonight something compelled her forward, a feeling she could neither name nor resist. Taking a shaky breath, she approached the desk and sat quietly. The screen displayed his email inbox, with numerous messages exchanged between Andrew and Nicole Bennett, a recent hire at Hayes Hospitality Group. Emily's heartbeat quickened as she hesitantly began reading, her fingers trembling slightly with every new revelation. Each word cut deeper than the last. Conversations filled with playful flirtations quickly turned personal, then intimate. Emily's stomach churned with disbelief and nausea. She read Andrew's casual cruelty as he mocked her simplicity, confiding to Nicole his relief at finally having found someone who could match his sophisticated lifestyle. The tone, so casually dismissive of her existence, shattered Emily's sense of self, slicing into the tenderest parts of her heart. She felt tears burning behind her eyes but blinked them back fiercely, determined to read every painful line. The betrayal was devastating, yet part of her refused to look away, as though forcing herself to witness the depth of Andrew's deception would somehow make it real, undeniable, and final. Hours passed unnoticed as Emily scrolled through the countless messages, each revelation pulling her further beneath a wave of sadness and anger. They'd mocked her dreams, ridiculed her modest upbringing, dismissed her as merely an inconvenience, an obstacle to their own selfish happiness. Andrew had even shared details of private family moments with Nicole, moments Emily had cherished as sacred, now reduced to mere gossip. Finally, drained and exhausted, Emily leaned back in the leather chair, staring blankly at the darkened city skyline beyond the window. Her heart pounded painfully in her chest as she absorbed the raw truth. Her marriage had become a facade. Everything she'd fought to believe about Andrew's character, his integrity, and their love had crumbled beneath the weight of his betrayal. Andrew arrived home late, as promised. Emily, emotionally numb yet inwardly shattered, confronted him quietly in the living room, the laptop's evidence glowing softly between them. Andrew didn't deny the affair. Instead, he sighed with a weariness that made Emily feel invisible. "Emily, let's stop pretending," he said quietly, his voice resigned but unapologetic. "We're just too different now. Nicole understands my life. She understands who I am. With you, I feel suffocated." His words hit her with the cold weight of finality. Emily searched his face desperately, seeking remnants of the man she'd once known and loved, but saw only a stranger cloaked in indifference. "What happened to you, Andrew?" Emily whispered, her voice trembling. "What happened to us?" He didn't answer immediately, looking away briefly before replying, distant and hollow. "People change, Emily. We changed. I never changed." She responded softly, heartbreak evident in her voice. "I loved you exactly as you were." Andrew met her gaze again, for a moment revealing a flash of regret that vanished quickly beneath his practiced detachment. "Maybe that's the problem." Emily felt a surge of anger rise, an emotion foreign yet powerful in its honesty. She stood, gathering what dignity remained. "Our son deserves better. And I deserve better." Without waiting for Andrew's reply, Emily quietly entered Lucas's room, gently waking her son and lifting him into her arms. His sleepy eyes opened briefly, trusting her instinctively as he rested against her shoulder. She quickly gathered a small bag, placing inside it only essentials and cherished photographs, memories she couldn't bear to leave behind. Andrew stood silently by the door, watching impassively. "Where are you going, Emily? You have nowhere else," he said calmly, confident in his words, as though certain she'd soon return. Emily paused, turning toward him with quiet resolve. "I'm going home, Andrew, back to people who genuinely love and respect me." She left without looking back, driving through the quiet streets toward Oak Park, tears finally falling silently down her cheeks as the reality of what she'd lost washed over her. She arrived at her parents' modest home, its familiar warmth offering instant comfort. Mike and Anna, hearing her quiet knock, opened the door immediately, their eyes filling with understanding and compassion. They embraced her without a word, enveloping Emily and Lucas in unconditional love. In the days that followed, Emily found herself wrestling with waves of grief and disillusionment. She grappled daily with feelings of inadequacy, questioning her choices, her trust, and her judgment. Yet within her parents' simple home, she rediscovered her roots, the values she'd momentarily doubted, reaffirming her worth beyond material wealth or societal expectations. Slowly, Emily rebuilt her strength through quiet conversations with Mike and Anna, whose wisdom gently reminded her that betrayal reflected Andrew's character, not her own. Lucas's innocent laughter reminded her daily of life's purest joys, untouched by bitterness or resentment. Emily began finding moments of peace again, gradually embracing her identity independent of Andrew, determined to heal for herself and her son. But trust, once shattered, leaves scars invisible yet profound. Emily learned firsthand that betrayal wounds not only relationships but self-perception, forcing painful self-reflection and reevaluation. She found solace, however, in understanding that broken trust also reveals truths long ignored, illuminating paths toward authentic self-discovery and renewed strength. In the quiet aftermath of shattered trust, Emily resolved not to allow bitterness to define her. Instead, she consciously chose forgiveness, not for Andrew's sake, but her own. Forgiveness, she realized, was the courageous act of reclaiming her peace, freeing herself from resentment's chains. And though trust had shattered irreparably between her and Andrew, Emily discovered within herself something resilient and unbreakable, a quiet yet profound belief in her own worth, dignity, and capacity to love again, deeper and wiser than ever before. In the weeks following her departure from Andrew, Emily Parker discovered resilience within herself that she never imagined possible. Back at her childhood home in Oak Park, surrounded by familiar comforts and the unconditional love of her parents, Mike and Anna, she began the delicate task of reconstructing her life. Yet, just as Emily began to find her footing, another painful challenge emerged, testing her courage and threatening everything she held dear. One crisp autumn afternoon, a legal summons arrived. Andrew was suing for full custody of their son, Lucas. The papers were cold, clinical, and devastatingly blunt, painting Emily as emotionally unstable, financially insecure, and ultimately unfit to provide Lucas with the stability he deserved. Emily stood quietly in the doorway, reading through the ruthless accusations, her hands trembling with disbelief and outrage. Andrew, it appeared, intended to use his family's considerable wealth and influence to erase her presence entirely, portraying her humble upbringing and limited financial resources as a liability rather than a strength. Emily felt the sting of betrayal all over again. This time not just as a wife, but as a mother. Lucas, with his bright eyes and innocent laughter, was her entire world. She knew immediately she would fight with every ounce of strength she possessed to protect him. Her parents provided quiet, unwavering support, reassuring Emily with steady voices and gentle embraces. But the fear that she might lose her son forever haunted Emily relentlessly, casting shadows over even the most hopeful moments. She found herself waking in the middle of the night, anxiously watching Lucas sleep, desperately hoping to safeguard the life and love they had built together. Determined not to be overwhelmed, Emily sought guidance from Jack Riley, a trusted family friend and former police detective. Jack was a man of few words, but those he offered were measured, wise, and comforting. He listened patiently as Emily recounted her struggles, sensing her fear yet admiring her resolve. With quiet reassurance, he agreed to help uncover any hidden truths that might turn the tide in Emily's favor. Days turned to weeks, and the battle for Lucas intensified. Emily attended court hearings in downtown Chicago, seated across from Andrew, who now seemed unrecognizable. His demeanor was aloof, arrogant, and cold. No trace remained of the man she'd once loved. Beside him sat Nicole Bennett, composed and polished, offering subtle encouragement. Emily's heart ached at their silent mockery, but she refused to reveal any vulnerability, drawing strength instead from the quiet dignity her parents had always taught her. Jack, meanwhile, delved carefully into Nicole's background, certain there was something hidden beneath her flawless facade. His instincts, honed by decades of investigative experience, soon revealed unsettling discoveries. Nicole Bennett, it turned out, was merely a constructed identity. Her true name was Lisa Monroe, a woman with a history of deceit, fraud, and manipulation. Lisa had repeatedly reinvented herself, moving from city to city, attaching herself to wealthy, influential men, and then quietly disappearing after draining their finances and reputations dry. Jack presented Emily with undeniable proof: photographs, financial records, police reports, each document revealing a woman whose polished exterior concealed a ruthless heart. Emily felt a wave of both shock and relief. With this information, she finally had a fighting chance to protect Lucas from the harmful influence of Andrew's new life. Yet Emily knew timing was critical. She could have immediately exposed Lisa, publicly humiliating Andrew and perhaps forcing a quick end to the custody battle. But beneath her initial anger lay a deeper wisdom. The truth alone wasn't enough. How and when she revealed it mattered just as much. She chose patience, carefully planning her strategy with Jack's steady guidance. Throughout the bitter legal struggle, Emily maintained her composure, never stooping to anger or revenge. Each day in court, she presented herself calmly, respectfully, and honestly, showcasing the quiet strength she had learned from Mike and Anna. Andrew's attorneys tried relentlessly to unsettle her, painting portraits of instability and incompetence. Yet Emily answered each attack with grace, her voice steady and unwavering. As Emily stood her ground, those around her began to notice. Even Andrew seemed momentarily disarmed by the quiet resolve emanating from the woman he thought he knew. Emily's gentle yet unwavering presence stood in stark contrast to his calculated aggression. It became clear that the woman he dismissed as weak was, in fact, quietly formidable. Armed not with wealth or status, but with truth, dignity, and unshakable maternal devotion. Meanwhile, at home, Emily continued creating stability and warmth for Lucas. She spent evenings reading stories, baking cookies, and visiting local parks, sheltering him from the complexities of their situation. Lucas thrived, unaware of the painful battle raging around him. His laughter an ever-present reminder of why Emily fought so courageously. Mike and Anna watched proudly, their quiet presence a reassuring anchor amid the storm. Still, beneath her quiet exterior, Emily endured tremendous emotional strain. She doubted herself often, questioning her choices, her actions, even her worth as a mother. During the loneliest nights when anxiety threatened to overwhelm her, Emily would sit quietly beside Lucas's bed, drawing comfort from his peaceful breathing, silently renewing her promise to protect him at all costs. Eventually, the moment Emily awaited arrived. A final hearing was scheduled, a decisive moment that would determine Lucas's future. Emily arrived at court that morning prepared, her heart steady despite the gravity of the day ahead. Andrew's confidence remained palpable, bolstered by his wealth and connections, but Emily drew strength from deeper reserves, the quiet yet indestructible bond between mother and child. When the judge invited Emily to speak, she rose calmly, holding carefully prepared evidence compiled by Jack Riley. Her voice remained steady as she quietly revealed the unsettling truth behind Nicole Bennett. As Emily presented the evidence, Lisa Monroe's fraudulent identity, her past criminal activities, and recent financial manipulations, the courtroom fell into stunned silence. Andrew's expression shifted from arrogance to disbelief, his composure unraveling beneath the weight of undeniable truth. Lisa's carefully crafted facade crumbled entirely, her elegant confidence replaced by visible panic. Emily felt no joy in their humiliation, only quiet relief at having protected her son from further harm. The judge, clearly moved by the revelations, reviewed the evidence carefully. When he finally delivered his decision, granting Emily primary custody of Lucas, Emily felt immense gratitude rather than triumph. She had stood courageously in defense of truth, never driven by vengeance, always guided by her unwavering love for Lucas. Returning home that evening, Emily embraced Lucas tightly, tears of relief quietly streaming down her cheeks. Her parents held them both close, offering gentle reassurance and quiet pride. Emily realized with profound clarity that true courage is never loud or boastful. Rather, it is found in quiet, steady determination. The willingness to face life's darkest moments guided by love, integrity, and faith. The legal battle had taken its toll emotionally and physically, but Emily emerged wiser and stronger than ever. Though scars remained from Andrew's betrayal, Emily recognized them now as signs of resilience, marks of courage she would carry with quiet pride. Her family had been tested, yet through adversity they had rediscovered the profound strength that bound them together. In standing courageously, Emily had not only protected Lucas, she had reclaimed herself. No longer overshadowed by Andrew's influence or the Hayes family's wealth, Emily saw clearly the woman she had become. Quietly powerful, deeply compassionate, and unshakably brave. Her victory was not merely legal, it was deeply personal. a profound reaffirmation of her worth as a mother, daughter, and woman. And as Emily tucked Lucas into bed that night, the quiet peace of their home restored, she knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, she would face them with courage, dignity, and an unwavering belief in the power of quiet strength. The autumn evening air held a crisp, charged expectancy as Emily Parker arrived at the expansive Hayes estate. Tonight was William Hayes' 65th birthday celebration, and despite everything she had endured, Emily had accepted the invitation, knowing exactly what she intended to do. As her car wound slowly up the familiar driveway, memories flooded her mind. Once hopeful moments now tinged with regret. Yet tonight, regret had no place. Tonight was about truth and redemption. Stepping inside, Emily felt instantly aware of the curious gazes that followed her. She sensed whispers beneath the glittering chandeliers, eyes subtly measuring the woman who had dared challenge Andrew Hayes. But Emily had no time for insecurities. Dressed elegantly, her posture confident and calm, she carried with her a quiet dignity, born of strength and clarity. Lucas walked beside her, his small hand held gently in hers. His innocence shielded him from the whispers, his bright smile genuine as he hugged his grandparents warmly. Eleanor and William Hayes received Lucas warmly, though Eleanor's polite greeting toward Emily felt strained. William's nod was formal yet respectful, perhaps the first acknowledgement of the courage Emily had demonstrated throughout their ordeal. The grand ballroom was exquisitely decorated, its sophistication a stark contrast to the simplicity Emily now cherished. Wealthy guests mingled, their laughter ringing with ease and privilege. Emily quietly absorbed the opulence surrounding her, no longer intimidated by it, simply understanding its allure and its inherent emptiness. Then Andrew entered, Nicole Bennett, or rather Lisa Monroe, on his arm. Emily's breath caught momentarily, observing their effortless charm and practiced smiles. Andrew's arrogance remained undiminished, his eyes meeting Emily's briefly with subtle disdain before he turned smoothly toward the admiring crowd. William Hayes moved to the center of the room, drawing attention effortlessly as he expressed gratitude to friends and family. Emily listened quietly, her heartbeat steady despite knowing the moment had come. Andrew stepped forward confidently, raising his glass high. His voice, once a comfort to Emily, now felt hollow as he proudly introduced Nicole as his future wife. Applause rippled politely through the room, yet Emily felt only calm certainty as she stepped gently forward into the sudden silence that followed. "Before you celebrate too deeply," Emily began, her voice firm yet composed, "there is something you should all know about Nicole Bennett." The ballroom's quiet turned tense, every eye now trained upon Emily. Andrew's eyes flashed with irritation, his voice low and warning as he spoke. "Emily, this is neither the time nor place." Emily met his gaze, unwavering. "Actually, Andrew, it is precisely the time and place. Truth deserves to be heard." She calmly produced the folder prepared meticulously with Jack Riley's help, filled with carefully collected evidence. Slowly and deliberately, Emily revealed the startling truth about Nicole Bennett's real identity as Lisa Monroe. Emily's voice remained steady as she outlined Lisa's past. A professional con artist known for manipulating wealthy individuals, leaving devastation in her wake. She detailed Lisa's aliases, fraudulent schemes, and stolen identities, laying bare a history so meticulously hidden beneath elegance and charm. Guests exchanged shocked glances, whispers now openly astonished murmurs. Nicole's carefully composed mask began slipping, her eyes widening in panic. Andrew stood stunned, color draining from his face as Emily continued calmly, relentless in her determination to protect not just her family, but the Hayes legacy itself. Emily carefully revealed financial records showing Lisa had quietly siphoned funds from Hayes Hospitality Group. Even more disturbing, emails proved Lisa had sold proprietary business information to competitors, betraying Andrew's trust and threatening the very foundations of the Hayes family's success. Each revelation resonated deeply, its impact devastatingly clear. Andrew turned toward Lisa, betrayal dawning painfully across his features as he finally saw the woman he'd risked everything for. Lisa stammered frantic denials, desperately pleading innocence as the room erupted into shocked outrage. William Hayes stepped forward, his face pale with disbelief, confronting Andrew sharply. You brought this woman into our family? Gave her access, influence, without question? Andrew's eyes flickered helplessly, his voice weak. Father, I didn't know. William's voice was quietly lethal. Precisely. You never bothered to truly know. You risked everything because of vanity and arrogance. Eleanor, composed until now, stared at Lisa with quiet disdain, turning toward Emily with an expression Emily had never expected. Gratitude and profound respect. Eleanor's eyes softened, her voice gentle yet clear, addressing Emily directly. Emily, we have gravely underestimated you. You've shown more loyalty to this family tonight than even our own son. Emily met Eleanor's gaze, moved by her sincerity, and nodded silently. Her intention tonight had never been revenge, but truth, justice, and protection for Lucas and the family she once hoped to call her own. William regained composure, quietly apologizing to the stunned guests, many of whom discreetly exited, sensing the family's private turmoil. Lisa, now fully exposed, slipped silently toward the exit, her polished persona irrevocably shattered. Andrew stood silently alone, facing the harsh reality of his own failures. As the room emptied, Emily gently took Lucas's hand, preparing to leave. Satisfied justice had prevailed. William approached quietly, his gaze sincere. Emily, wait. We owe you far more than an apology. You've saved our family from unimaginable harm. How can we possibly thank you? Emily offered a gentle smile. All I ever wanted was respect and honesty, William. Not wealth, not status, just truth. Give Lucas the family connection he deserves and let honesty guide our interactions from now on. William nodded solemnly, understanding fully for the first time the true strength and depth of Emily's character. In the following weeks, profound changes unfolded swiftly. Andrew, humiliated and humbled, left Chicago quietly, reflecting deeply on his choices and priorities. Lisa Monroe faced serious charges, her glamorous facade replaced permanently by consequences long avoided. Emily focused quietly on rebuilding stability for Lucas, their bond stronger and more profound than ever, tested yet unbreakable. Surprisingly, William and Eleanor became regular visitors to Emily's modest Oak Park home, their demeanor transformed, genuine warmth replacing prior distance. Lucas blossomed under the genuine care and love now freely expressed by both grandparents. Slowly, trust between Emily and the Hayes family cautiously rebuilt, rooted in sincerity and respect. Emily's courage that night had changed the course of her life, not merely by exposing painful truths, but by redefining her own identity. Stronger, wiser, braver. Through quiet resilience and unwavering dignity, she had reclaimed the respect she always deserved, proving beyond doubt that integrity mattered far more than status or wealth. As months passed, Emily discovered peace within herself, no longer defined by Andrew's betrayal, but shaped instead by the strength she had discovered within. She had fought courageously for truth, not revenge, guided always by deep compassion and unwavering commitment to her values. In exposing Lisa Monroe's deception, Emily illuminated truths long hidden, truths about family, integrity, and genuine strength. Her quiet courage resonated deeply, inspiring those around her, reshaping relationships and healing wounds previously believed irreparable. Ultimately, Emily's journey revealed a profound wisdom. True strength lies not in the power one holds or wealth one accumulates, but in integrity, courage, and kindness. She had navigated darkness bravely, emerging stronger, wiser, and more compassionate than ever before. And though scars of betrayal remained, Emily wore them quietly and proudly, reminders of her resilience, her courage, and the extraordinary power found in facing truth without fear. Emily Parker's journey, from quiet optimism to profound resilience, embodies the universal truth that life rarely unfolds exactly as we plan. Her story is more than just one of heartbreak or betrayal. It's an inspiring testament to the transformative power of courage, dignity, and forgiveness in the face of life's harshest trials. Growing up in Oak Park, Emily's early life was steeped in simplicity. Her parents, Mike and Anna Parker, shaped her character through modest yet meaningful values: compassion, humility, resilience, and integrity. Emily was taught that genuine happiness arises from love, trust, and meaningful relationships rather than wealth or social status. Yet, when she met Andrew Hayes, the charismatic heir to the Hayes Hospitality Group, Emily was thrust into a world of luxury, privilege, and expectation. One that promised joy, but often delivered isolation and self-doubt. Their relationship initially felt destined, two worlds colliding with the excitement and wonder of newfound love. Andrew represented possibility, a door opening to dreams she never dared envision. But reality soon showed Emily that dreams built upon expectations rather than truth could swiftly collapse, revealing hidden vulnerabilities. Emily's courage was tested repeatedly, from confronting the subtle yet relentless judgment of Andrew's family to navigating the growing distance between herself and Andrew as their marriage deteriorated. Though she tried desperately to bridge their emotional divide, Andrew's infidelity shattered her trust and her carefully constructed dream. In those agonizing moments of betrayal, Emily faced a profound choice: succumb to bitterness or rise above it, drawing upon the quiet strength her parents had instilled. Choosing the latter, Emily's brave decision to leave the lavish yet hollow comforts of her former life was more than an act of courage. It was an act of self-respect. Returning to the humble embrace of her childhood home, she found solace and unconditional love from her parents, whose steadfast support reminded her of what genuinely mattered in life. Yet, the hardest test came when Andrew initiated a fierce custody battle over their son, Lucas. Emily confronted a powerful adversary, armed with resources far beyond her reach. Yet, she recognized that true strength isn't measured by wealth or influence, but by integrity, an unwavering commitment to protecting those we love. With the steadfast support of her family and the guidance of trusted friends like Jack Riley, Emily quietly built a compelling case rooted in truth rather than revenge. Her decisive, courageous stand in court wasn't simply about victory. It was a powerful demonstration of maternal love, determination, and moral clarity. When Emily finally revealed the shocking truth about Nicole Bennett, Lisa Monroe, during William Hayes' birthday celebration, she did not seek vengeance but justice. Justice not only for herself and Lucas, but also for the Hayes family who had unknowingly fallen victim to Lisa's manipulations. Emily's composed exposure of deceit not only restored dignity to herself, but safeguarded the family legacy from irreversible harm. In doing so, she reminded everyone present that genuine power resides in truth, humility, and compassion. Following this pivotal moment, Emily's life transformed yet again. Her relationship with Andrew ended definitively, but a new understanding emerged with the Hayes family, rooted in mutual respect and genuine reconciliation. Andrew, forced to confront his own shortcomings, departed Chicago humbled, seeking redemption away from the shadow of his family's prestige. William and Eleanor Hayes, humbled by Emily's integrity, rebuilt their relationship with her based on newfound admiration and respect. Emily Parker's story demonstrates that life's most painful experiences can catalyze profound growth, resilience, and wisdom. The scars left by betrayal, once reminders of pain, transformed into symbols of strength. Emily realized that though her dreams had shifted, her life was richer and more authentic because she had bravely chosen to live with honesty and courage. She had discovered a strength within herself more powerful than she ever imagined possible. Indeed, the true beauty of Emily's journey is its universal message. Adversity does not define us. It reveals who we truly are. Through her quiet resolve, Emily embodied the strength of character that arises when we remain faithful to our deepest values, even amid trials and heartbreak. By holding firmly to her principles and protecting what mattered most, her family, her dignity, and her child, Emily redefined success not by society's standards, but by her own. Her life, though modest, became extraordinary in its authenticity and depth. Emily's journey offers valuable insights applicable to each of our lives. First and foremost, it highlights the critical importance of staying true to oneself, especially in the face of pressures to conform or compromise. Genuine happiness and self-respect are rooted in authenticity. We must embrace who we are, recognizing that our worth isn't defined by external validation, but by the integrity and kindness we consistently show. Secondly, Emily teaches us the power of forgiveness. Her choice to let go of bitterness after Andrew's betrayal wasn't merely noble. It was essential to her emotional healing and personal growth. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongdoing, but about freeing oneself from resentment, allowing room for peace, healing, and meaningful new beginnings. By forgiving, Emily reclaimed her narrative, refusing to remain a victim of circumstance. Finally, Emily's story underscores the resilience of the human spirit when faced with adversity. Challenges are inevitable in life, yet how we respond defines our character. Emily faced her struggles courageously, proving that resilience isn't merely about surviving difficulties, but thriving despite them. Her resilience offers a powerful reminder. Within each of us lies an inner strength capable of overcoming even our greatest fears and most profound heartbreaks. As you reflect on Emily's story, ask yourself how you might embody her courage, authenticity, and resilience. Perhaps you face situations where authenticity seems daunting or where forgiving others feels impossible. Emily's journey reminds us that even small steps toward authenticity and forgiveness can profoundly transform our lives. To embrace authenticity, start by reflecting honestly about what truly matters to you. Commit daily to choices that align with your values, no matter the pressures around you. Like Emily, surround yourself with people who genuinely support and accept you for who you are. Let go of relationships built on superficial connections, and instead, nurture those rooted in sincerity and mutual respect. Practice forgiveness by understanding that holding on to anger only burdens your heart. Remember Emily's example, and consider that forgiveness allows you to reclaim peace and personal power. Forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. It merely means letting go of resentment, releasing yourself from pain that no longer serves your growth. Finally, cultivate resilience by recognizing setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than defeat. Challenges are inevitable, but they don't define your worth or your future. Like Emily, approach difficulties with quiet courage and unwavering determination, knowing that each obstacle you overcome strengthens your character and prepares you for even greater triumphs ahead. Emily Parker's inspiring journey reminds us all of the quiet yet profound power each of us holds within. Life will always bring unexpected twists, challenges, and heartbreak. But through courage, authenticity, forgiveness, and resilience, we can transform these moments into opportunities for profound growth and fulfillment. Thank you so much for taking the time to experience Emily's powerful story. If this journey resonated with you, please consider subscribing to our channel. Your subscription not only supports our efforts to share meaningful, heartfelt stories, but it also encourages us to continue creating content that inspires, empowers, and uplifts. Together, let's continue exploring the powerful truths hidden within everyday stories. Your support means the world to us, empowering our mission to touch hearts, inspire courage, and celebrate the extraordinary strength within ordinary lives. Hit subscribe, join our growing community, and stay connected. Let's keep uncovering beauty, truth, and inspiration, one story at a time.